They fooled Crom, and they took from him the enigma of steel. Crom was angered, and the earth shook, the bodies into the waters. But in their rage, the gods forgot the secret of steel and left it on the battlefield. And we who found it are just men. Not gods, not giants, just men. No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
God. Gods, right? If God will not help me get through this YouTube video, then to hell with you. Anyway, welcome to Goth Metal Lore. Yeah, I guess we were going to get to this sooner or later. Now, my father watched this movie decades ago, and I thought James Earl Jones wore glasses in this. I don't know why I thought that. I think he always. I would always think of him as wearing glasses all the time, but he definitely did not wear glasses. I remembered nude women, titties, naked women bathing, barbarians, and James Earl Jones and Arnold. And I thought, I remember the story of Mattel trying to get the rights to this back in the 70s, 1979 or so. And Mark Taylor, bless his heart, he had created like prototypes, with prototypes to He-Man, prototypes to Skeletor, Demo Man, right? Vicor and all that shit. So you didn't see a Viking, but you saw He-Man with the blonde hair and the sword. And yeah, so I am going to refer back to He-Man every now and then. Because, funny enough, I thought this was made before, but this was made and finished after He-Man's debut. He-Man and Skeletor, but before the cartoon, of course, but after the, obviously this movie further accelerated the Filmation cartoon, but this was after the mini comics, the figures came out. So isn't that something? And seeing the story fold out reminds me of the first 4 mini comics. We see a little bit of influence of Skeletor in some form, and definitely fucking King Hiss and Skeletor and beast men, but mostly human barbarians against human, warriors, renegades. And let's talk about who's in the movie. And right down the line, we got, let's see, Arnold, as he protects the realm of California. Or he protects whatever sacred realm. So you got him as Conan. You got Thulsa Doom. You got James Earl Jones, who is hoping to hit 100 years old. Maybe not. By the time I'll get comments saying he didn't make it. Oh, well, he tried. Max von Sydow is King Osiric. Sandal Bergman, she was Tila, wasn't she? She was Valeria, but she could have been Tila. And she dies. But you kind of almost see a She-Ra influence. You see the ghost of She-Ra near the end of the movie. I got Ben Davidson. I think he is the one who helps out. Roxor. The witch. Oh, Cassandra. Yeah, there's a lot of sex and a lot of sexuality. Gary Lopez. Saboto. Mako. Yeah, Mako was the wizard who helped out. Yeah, rest in peace, Mako. He was great as Master Splinter. And I wanted to think, speaking of Japanese culture, you had Sensei Kiyoshi Yamazaki. Yamazaki Sensei, who was the sword master. He helped train everybody to use their swords in this movie. All the stunt people and Arnold and Sandra, whoever had to use a fucking sword, he was the sword master. So this was a really good, and was a masterpiece. A lot of beheading. Now, would I say it's a heavy metal or goth metal or not so much? There's not technology. It's not He-Man. So magic and demons play very little role, and you do have snake people. And you do have skeletons, and you do have uh, sort of the foundation of what Masters of the Universe is, right? But Conan's been around a lot longer in the comics and everything, the stories and the books, longer than He-Man. And He-Man is kind of based off of Conan, and Conan is comes. This movie comes after He-Man, and so um, you look at Masters of the Universe, the movie with Dolph Lundgren, and it started out looking like Conan, but it ended up being a low budget movie that took place in the real world because they didn't have enough money. This is what it would look like, right? A lot of metal, a lot of gothic feel to this movie. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of murdering. I mean, Conan does kill. Uh, he has sex with different women. He thought he found his soulmate in Tila, or whoever Sandra was playing, and then she gets killed by a snake arrow. It's basically a revenge story. Conan was a child who lost his father and mother to Thulsa Doom and his men, who raided and pillaged and burned down the village. And so he spent his years in captivity until he became Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in true Arnold Schwarzenegger fashion, killed the bad guy in a horrible, gruesome way. The bad guy will try to that's the shtick, isn't it? The bad guy will try to seduce Arnold, right? Just like the fat guy in Total Recall, when in the middle of the movie, when he says, "Oh, you're hallucinating." Okay, let's say this is a hallucination. So what happens now? In your mind, you're this or that, and so. Arnold. Every time they try to seduce Arnold will just like spit in their face and then do a horrible, gruesome death, and that's the end of the movie. So yeah, really good stuff. The presentation is dark. This is not He-Man. I mean, even though He-Man looks dark, it was still a kid's movie, and I don't know. I think somewhere there has to be a line of what the good guys can do, what the bad guys can do. And I don't think we've ever seen the bad guys be this brutal as it is here. So I have never, this is my first time having watched this. I saw a little bit of it when my father watched it. And I think my dad just likes seeing nudity in movies and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He didn't really care about the style, the barbaric nature of things, the story, the elements of the story. He didn't really care about that stuff. He didn't care about the heavy metal or death metal or doom metal look to it. He just liked just those stories, the classic stories. But I like the style of it. And you can't ignore the classic barbaric tale of Vikings and medieval warriors in fur coats and boots. When you're thinking of metal, you're thinking of darkness and trees and doom and gloom. It's not wizards, so it's more grounded in the kind of like just these few elements here and there. Everything but swearing, I guess. There's no foul language. I guess there wouldn't be. There's dogs, there's wild animals, there's leopards. And Conan's not afraid to punch a camel in the face. He will punch a camel. So a little bit of you have to have no constitution. Can you imagine if like the average like snowflakey person watched superhero movies from Marvel, and then you show them this? They think that they know what a good Marvel movie is, right? Like the Marvels, and then you show them this movie, and they're like, "Oh shit!" There's like no holds barred. This is a no holds barred kind of movie. So, man, it's a tough one, because what can you give a movie like this? What grade must be given for this? And I like the presentation, the look, the music. Okay, the story is very good. It's a revenge story. It's very simple. I think of those turning, those are turnstiles. Those where the kid whips the other kid, and it's the redheaded kid that's in charge of Conan. He sets him free. He could have kept him in captivity. He sets him free. Maybe he talked him out of it one day and said, "Hey, what's the point of me being here? What's the point of living? It's not living, it's waiting to die. And even the scene where he's crucified, there's just so much going on in there, okay? It's a long journey, meeting different people, trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. But ultimately, James Earl Jones has to die at the end of the movie because that's how this movie goes. So, and it definitely holds up today. I don't think I want to see the new version of Conan that came out. I think that's not the one with Jason Momoa in it. Yeah, it's not really for me. Though somewhere down the road I will be looking at Destroyer with was it Gracie Jones? Rocky, do you find me sexy? You remember that one, Gracie Jones in Rocky 6? You have to look that up. It's very good. So let's get my score. I'm giving it the A plus. There you go, A plus. That's it, A plus. This is my first time sitting down and watching this movie from minute 1 to minute 120 something, 126, I don't know. But very good because my dad liked it, but there are very few common denominators my father and I actually had. So there you go. A plus for that. And stay tuned for Thursday's Goth Metal Lore. What we'll be looking at, it's a retrospective of a game that got me interested in buying a console. Gosh, almost 20 years ago. And we'll look at that on Thursday.